Got this John Deere 4010. When I got it, the engine was stuck. Turns out there was a mouse nest in the bell housing, so I got it off. And I had all the injectors out at one point, and one of them didn't seal up right. So there's a piece of rust down in the hole. So I got that injector out, and I'm gonna replace that. I got the seat all cleaned up for that crush washer, so it'll seal this time. I'll get it put back in after I get a crush washer, and then I can get it started. But the clutch is stuck right now, so I gotta get it started so I know it runs good before I go any farther into it. So I'll probably have to split it in half most likely. While I'm waiting on parts for the injector, I was gonna replace this radiator hose. She's pretty well shot. I feel like once it gets up to temperature once, it'll blow up. So I got it getting it replaced right now while I have time. While I'm waiting for parts. And when I got it, this wiring is all messed up. So I've been going through this wiring, trying to figure out how to make it work. So I got it cranking over. It finally cranks over with the key. So that's good. When I got it, none of that worked. Finally got it all working right. So just gotta put this radiator hose on, wait for that injector crush washer. So then I'll get it started, and hopefully I can start it in gear and try and get the clutch unstuck. Yeah, I've never claimed to be a genius either, but that coolant doesn't look very healthy, so I think it's probably a good thing that I'm changing it. So got all new coolant for it. Getting it cleaned out the best I can. I'll probably have to flush it out after a bit, but I think I'll get it running for today, and then I'll flush it out eventually. But yeah, that ain't very good. Pretty dirty. Got the new hose and clamps from our local John Deere dealer. We'll get it thrown in there real quick and get her filled back up with coolant. See if we can't make a mess. Got the new radiator hose in, all tightened down. One of the easiest low radiators I've ever done. I'll tell you that. It doesn't look like it's easy, but it is. But now that's done. I can probably go to the parts store. Hopefully I can get a crush washer today for that injector. And I will get that injector in and get this thing started up again. Had it running a few days ago, but then it wasn't firing on this one because that crush washer wasn't letting it fire, leaking all the compression out. But yeah, hopefully I can get it running, and I'll get a video of it running for it. But shouldn't be too hard. And if I get it running, we'll have to get. There's a mouse nest in there, so clutch does not work right now. Neither does the PTO clutch, because they're all rusted up and stuck to the flywheel. So hopefully I can get them unstuck. If not, we'll split the tractor in half, put new clutches in it, but shouldn't be too bad, I think. So it's the next day, and I got this 4010 backed here into the corner of the shop. I'm gonna get it ready to split in half, so I'm gonna take the hood off first. First thing I'll start with, I got the air cleaner off, just pulled it off from in there. Set it off to the side. I'll take that fuel tank cap off, the radiator cap, and then I'll probably pull the exhaust flap off the top and just lift it all the way up, because this 4010's got a turbo on it, so it makes it a little harder to pull the exhaust off than just a regular one. But it won't be the end of the world, so I'll get that hood off, and after that I'll start removing hydraulic lines and all the wiring. But I'll catch up with you guys then. the hood off and I got the fuel cap back on it, the radiator cap back on it, so nothing gets in there. But here's a better look at this turbo, because if I'm not mistaken, 4010s were never turboed from the factory, so somebody had to put this aftermarket kit on. But they did a really good job. It looks good. Can't say it looks bad, because everything's tucked under the hood and the hood's not melted or anything or bent up. But it looks good. So now I think I'll start with taking probably all the wiring off, and then I'll have to see which lines need to be disconnected to get this thing split in half. So shouldn't be too hard of a project, but I know there's a few lines over here that need split in half first. Like I gotta take this line and this line off right there, and then we'll follow that one back up and take it off there. And if I'm not mistaken, we'll probably take a couple more of these off. There's one. Oh, it's just like wiring, I guess. Yeah, I'll take that wiring off and then take this one off up here. But yeah, I'll figure out over here, because I'm not quite sure about over here. I don't know exactly where to unhook everything, but I should be able to figure it out. So I'll have to unhook this tack too, but yeah, it shouldn't be too difficult. Can't forget the throttle linkage and shut off back there, and I need to put a new shut off cable on that, so it's a good thing I got to take it off, because she's stuck. I can't get it to move, and then eventually I need to put a new light switch on there, because that's also rusted up. But not the end of the world. These are easy problems to fix. Okay, well I just got all these bolts that I'm going to take out, sprayed a WD-40, got them soaking. I've been doing that for a couple days. Got that line, and then I got all those other lines soaking with WD-40 so they come out easy, or that's the theory at least. But I think I'm going to take this off, this bracket and the one on the other side. Take those off, and I'll disconnect the batteries, and then I'll probably take the starter off, and then I'll probably go to the other side and take off all the wiring over there. But I'm going to get started with taking off those brackets and the batteries for right now, and I'll catch up with you guys in a bit. Well, I got these brackets off and the starter. The way I got this back starter bolt is I have a 9/16 12-point wobble socket, and I was able to reach in from the back of the starter and get this one out, surprisingly. The first time I had to use the John Deere special wrench for it, but I got it the second time because I didn't put it in as tight the next time, so I could do that, because I knew I was going to have to do this again. But so now that I got all that done, put this wiring off, I'm going to come to the other side, and I'm going to pull off the throttle linkage, get that off there, and I'll get this shut off solenoid, or the shut off cable out of there. I'll do that, and then I'll get the water temperature sensor, it's right here. Get it loose, but it's dirty around there, so I'll get that cleaned up. And after that, I will probably pull this one off, this line, that line, and these two lines. Probably get those pulled off, and then that should be it. But I will have to do some more double checking, so I'm not quite sure. I think that'll be pretty damn close, because this big block right here stays with the dash, I'm pretty sure. Well, I got this loose. I'm just gonna finish taking that off, and I gotta get that nut back in there for the linkage, but I can't quite see it very well, so it should be a 1/4 inch if I had to guess, and I don't have any sockets, and you can't even get a socket back there, so I'll do that one with a wrench, but it should be pretty easy. And this linkage hasn't been off in a while because there's still paint on the thread, so it's coming off kind of hard, but it should be pretty easy. And then I'll do that, pull this off. There we go. Should sneak off there pretty easy. So then I'll put this nut back on right there. Let's see if I can't get back in here. Get this. Not sure if you guys can see anything. very difficult, very tight in there. There we go, we're on it. It's turning. It's loose, so let me see if I can't reach in there and spin it with my finger. Yeah, spin it with my finger. I can't really see it, but spinning that with my finger. Let's see how far I need to go. There we go. Pull that out like that, and that's good. And then, oh yeah, I forgot the oil pressure gauge and the sensor, so I will unhook the oil pressure line. Comes from right there. I'll probably have to unhook that there. And then here's the oil sensor, which is right in there, which just should pull that off. Should be pretty easy to get that off. Maybe. There we go. Yeah, that was easy. That just pops off. It's just a spade connector. But yeah, now I'll just get this oil pressure line off and that coolant line, and then alternator wiring too, and the fuel tank wiring. But that should be pretty easy. Well, I got the fuel tank wire off there. I'll have to get that zip tie cut, but I'll take this alternator one off so I can just pull them all the way back. Somebody converted this from a generator to an alternator, which is good. I'd rather have this than the generator, but some people like it the other way. So there's that. I'll get my pliers and I'll get this cut. Probably could have just broke that. That's pretty brittle. I'll get this fished out of there now. There's that. Drape that back over here, get it out of the way. Now it's a lot easier to, this wiring is way easier than the original wiring, because I only have one wire for the alternator, one wire for the fuel tank, because on the other ones there would have been a voltage regulator on the generator and all that jazz, but it's pretty easy for this one, so that was nice. So now I'm thinking probably for this oil pressure, I think I will probably take it off the gauge so I don't have to do as much rerouting, because it comes all the way down here now and it's not going to come out of there very easy, so I think I'll pull it off the back of the gauge and just pull it back and keep it with the engine. But then the sensor for the water temperature, you got to take it off the block, so I'll need to drain the coolant down some so it doesn't make a mess, but it should be pretty easy. After that, I think it's damn close to be split in half. I'll have to look at the book some more. But God, it should. Oh wait, we'll have to get all these lines. Then it'll be ready to be split in half. Well, we got the oil pressure line out. That was pretty easy. Just a 3/8 wrench, and I just loosened it there, and then fed it out of the hole it came in, and then also the coolant sensor was pretty easy. Just 5/8, and I cleaned off the top of the blocks around the best I could. Nothing fell in there. I blew it off the air, but I just used the bottom of the oil cooler to drain some of the coolant down, and drained it down just enough so it didn't leak. When I pulled that out, because I'd rather make a mess right here than up there and have it drip down on me. But that's everything disconnected except for the 3 lines, and 4 lines, one on the other side. But I'll get those disconnected. Hopefully I can get plugs. I'll put plugs in them so we don't get dirt in them. But once we get those disconnected, I'll have to go get our gantry. It's at our other shop. We got a gantry for this. And I'll use that bolt, and I will lift with the gantry probably. I'll have to make a bracket to lift it evenly, and then I'll block the back of the tractor up and leave the back of the tractor sitting there, and I'll roll the front forward to get to the clutch. So hopefully I can have this split in half this afternoon still. Probably call one of my brothers and have them come home, because I'd rather have somebody around here when I do this than doing it by myself. So, well, I got these lines off. Got those 2 off, and I got that one right there off. It was pretty easy, but while I was gone, I went to our other shop and hauled the A-frame gantry crane here, so I can use it to support the front, and then I'll have blocks and a jack under the back after I get the bell housing bolts out. But the last line I need to take off should be this one right here. That's the main feed for the hydraulic pump. So I need to take that apart, and I got a plug set that I'll throw a plug back on it so it doesn't leak everywhere. And that should be the last thing. Oh, I need to take this off, I guess, which would be that right there. So take that off so it's out of my way, or I can take it off up in here. Doesn't make a difference though, I guess, but I guess I'll take that off, and then I need to start getting everything supported, so going a lot easier than I thought. Got this off now, and I got that line disconnected, so I believe now that it's ready to be split in half, because this whole, all these valve blocks right here, they stay with the dash. There shouldn't be anything else connected, I think. So I'm gonna start working on getting it blocked up and getting it separated. So a lot's changed since I last picked up the camera. Haven't had time to film this because I've been kind of in a rush to get it split apart, but it was so stuck together that I had to turn these bell housing bolts around and put a piece of wood in here and thread the bolt in and press this tractor apart with the bell housing, because this mouse nest, as you can see, is everywhere. It was so bad, and these two shafts are stuck together, and I had to take all that out because it was all stuck together. It was bad, but we got it apart finally. Only one broken nose, but you know, that's not the end of the world. They're fixable. But I'm gonna get this flywheel sent off to get cleaned and resurfaced because it's pretty pitted because of the rust. But once I do that, I'll get the clutch ordered too, because I need to get some measurements off it still. But I'll get this all cleaned up and get that all cleaned up. I need to vacuum out back in here just since we're right here, get it all cleaned out. But it's not too bad, but there's quite a few pieces all stuck together. Like this is for the transmission throwout bearing. It was all seized up and stuck together, but I put it on a press and pressed it apart and wire wheeled it and got it all cleaned back up, which was relatively easy. It should slide pretty good. I mean, it's not like brand new, but it's good enough, and it'll get better as you push the clutch in and out more. But yeah, we got her apart, and easier than the guy realizes, but still not very much fun. So yeah, I'll get this cleaned up and then I'll catch up with you guys after a bit. Well, I got it all cleaned up. It's been a while again. It's been a slow day, kind of. I haven't been doing much. But got it on, got this shaft back on in there. So once I get all the new pieces, I can finally put everything back together. But slides on there pretty nice now, so that's good. But yeah, it was pretty easy. And I got this back shaft for the clutch out of there because the splines had spun on it, or well, twisted, I mean. So we took it out to get a new one made, because a new one from John Deere is about $650. So brought it to our local machine shop and having them make us a new one. And then once we get that, we can put this all back together and then put the clutch on and put it back together. I also took my scraper and cleaned up these edges, and I took some sandpaper, cleaned off these dowels and the thread, or the splines on here. I also took a wire wheel too, get them as best we can. And where the pilot bearing goes, it's seen better days, but I filed it and took some emery cloth, and it's good enough. As long as the new pilot bearing slides on, it's gonna roll with it. The guy who owns this tractor is trying to do it on a budget, so I would replace the rear main, but since he's on a budget, we're just gonna leave it because it wasn't leaking as bad as you'd think. So it should be fine, and then yeah, it's been pretty easy so far.